captains of industry, international delegates, esteemed colleagues, distinguished guests, local and international ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure and honor for me to participate in this important summit dubbed the Future of Mining 2025. I commend the Project Magazine and the Botswana Chamber of Mines for convening this forward-looking dialogue, which rightly places Botswana at the heart of Africa's mining future. Transport and infrastructure may not dig the minerals, but they certainly move them, they export them, and they deliver their future or their value to the people. The mining sector and the logistics sector are Siamese twins. One cannot thrive without the other. The Cape Gauge Railway that was built around 1885 and 1910 was built to move minerals, especially copper from Ndola and Zambia, to the ports of Cape Town and Beira and Mozambique. Here we are today, 120 years later, we are still talking about mining and transport, which means they are inseparable. Without transport, mining has no value. Transport is needed for access to processing plants and to markets. Transport converts worthless minerals into valuable and useful assets. A resilient mining industry depends on a logistics ecosystem that is not only efficient but sustainable. This includes road and rail networks, dry ports, power corridors, data infrastructure, and border facilities, all enabling the seamless movement of bulk commodities such as coal, copper, soda ash, and future-facing minerals like lithium and rare earths. Today, the greatest bottleneck to scaling up Botswana's mining exports is not under the ground. It is above the ground. It is the connectivity gap. We face high inland transport costs. Our railway system is either dilapidated or aging. Our export routes are long and exposed to risks, some environmental, others geopolitical. And the capital needed to upgrade and diversify this infrastructure remains elusive. The prospect of funding large infrastructure projects has become especially difficult due to the reduction of government revenue because of the dire situation with diamond revenue in 2024 and 2025, as we might have heard from the Minister of Minerals yesterday. Botswana saw a production fall of 27% in 2024 and revenue drop of 44%. This downward trend continued in first quarter of 2025, and the collapse triggered a 3% correction to the GDP. The emergence of synthetic diamonds may have caused a permanent change in the diamond market. This crisis underscores the urgent need for diversification. This must come not only from exploiting new minerals, such as lithium, but also adding value. Ladies and gentlemen, the diamond era is over. But this do not mean that we have lost our diamond industry. We are far from losing it. What I mean is that the era of public sector development being funded from diamond revenue is over. A new era of user pays is upon us, especially roads. My ministry is working on solutions that will apply road user charges directly to generate funds to build and maintain roads, rather than indirectly from taxation. Yes, we are not standing still. The theme of this summit, Smart Partnerships, is not just a slogan, but a strategy. We are pursuing public-private partnerships to unlock rail revitalization, such as the Trans-Kalahari Railway, now gaining traction with Namibia. The Mosetseka-Zungula to Livingstone Railway line, rail link upgrades to Mozambique and South Africa to access diversified port options, and the long-term vision of Botswana investing in port infrastructure itself to secure logistics sovereignty. The mining subsector are our partners. Our policy is that the primary users of our infrastructure must also be paying for them. The days of subsidized transport infrastructure are over. We are also enabling local financing options by working with pension funds, development finance institutions, and sovereign partners to crowd in capital for priority corridors. The future demands that we do things differently. Logistics must not only be fast, but also green. We are promoting intermodal solutions, shifting from road to rail to car emissions, reduce wear on roads, and improve safety. Digitalization is another pillar. We aim to digitize permits, cargo tracking, and customs clearance to streamline the movement of goods across borders. A smart mining economy must have smart logistics. The era of large infrastructure projects that do not deliver an adequate economic return is over. You can no longer afford investments that do not yield clear, measurable value for our economy and our people. From this point forward, all infrastructure developments must demonstrate value addition, whether in lowering transport costs, enabling exports, improving reliability, or catalyzing job creation and innovation. Dominant users of infrastructure, particularly capital-intensive industries such as mining and oil companies, will be expected to contribute directly to both capital and operational costs of the new works from which they benefit. There's a paradox, especially for rail transport. Railways enjoy the movement of bulk goods, such as ores, but our policy is not to export ores, as my colleague also made clear yesterday, but to add value through processing. This means that 4 million tons of copper ore will become 150,000 tons of copper plate. This poses a very different transport proposition. Instead of 5 2,000-ton freight trains per day, we have instead 10 47 axle road trucks per day. As we leverage the public-private partnership model to unlock value in our logistics sector, it is equally urgent that we explore innovative methods of infrastructure financing. The capital requirements to modernize and expand our transport corridors, railroad, port connectivity are substantial and cannot rely solely on traditional budget allocations or donor flows. We are actively exploring infrastructure bonds, including green and sustainability-linked bonds, to mobilize private capital from both domestic and international markets. Botswana's strong credit worthiness, combined with the long-term revenue potential of user-funded logistics assets, provides an attractive proposition for investors. Our pension funds, insurance companies, and private equity partners must be brought into this national effort, not merely as funders, but as strategic stakeholders in national development. Infrastructure bonds will give them the platform to do just that, backing projects that are not only financially viable, but socially and environmentally transformative. This forward-thinking approach is not just a technical shift, it is a philosophical one. We must transition from viewing infrastructure as a cost center to understanding it as a productive asset, generating economic returns, improving competitiveness, and securing Botswana's regional position. We are establishing new funding modalities, such as shadow tolling, cost-sharing arrangements, and user-pays mechanisms to implement this principle fairly and transparently. Internationally, several countries have successfully implemented such models. For example, Chile uses mining royalties to fund public infrastructure. India applies user tolling and viability gap funding in its logistics corridors. Portugal and the UK have long applied shadow tolling on highways under PPP models. Australia, for example, employs mine-to-port rail cost recovery through long-term user agreements. Botswana will learn from these examples and adapt them to our context, ensuring that infrastructure becomes a platform for equitable development, not a hidden subsidy. To our mining partners, I say, work with us. Help us design and pay for the logistics of tomorrow. The government is listening and ready to move. To investors and financiers, look at Botswana not as a landlocked country, but land-linked. We offer stability, reform-minded leadership, and a deep commitment to infrastructure that works for mining and beyond. To regional partners, let us strengthen our corridors. Infrastructure is integration in physical form, and regional growth depends on it. In closing, I reaffirm the Ministry's commitment to making Botswana not only a mining giant, but a logistics hub for Southern Africa. Let the summit be the platform where ideas become infrastructure and partnerships become prosperity. I thank you very much, Honourable.